श्रीमद् भागवत जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीर वनचारी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासुदेव गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासुदेव गौर भक्तवृंद Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda Radhe. Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Nittai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Nittai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol, Jai Vishnupat Paramamsa Parvicharya Shtashri Srimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupat Paramamsa Bacharya Ashtashri Srimad. His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. ISKCON Guru Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridasa Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Sitarama Lakshman Hanuman Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Go Nitai Bhagwan Ki Jai. Oh glories to the assembled devotees. Oh glories to the assembly devotees. Oh glories to the assembly devotees. Oh glories to Shishi Guru Vengaranga Nama Om Vishnu Paradaya Krishna Vasai. Thank you. I don't need. Thank you so much, Prabhus. Before we do begin, just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone here, and especially the Manchester devotees. Welcome. A big three Haribols! Haribols! Haribol! So, I think last year the devotees appeared here for a retreat, Easter weekend. Of course, our devotees have gone to New Mayapur, the volunteers, and the Manchester devotees have come here. Maybe some of us should go to Manchester. So welcome and thank you for appearing. And certainly the senior devotees, Mataji over there from Coventry, I believe. Thank you, Mataji, for appearing. Dandavats to you all. So yes, the Caitanya-Caritāmṛta, we are reading from the Madhya Leela, 10th chapter, 140 onwards. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. I hope everyone likes these wonderful screens. They could be a bit bigger, couldn't they? But then they'll be too prominent. But the verses here, 140 onwards, I think 143 has a relatively short purport. I'll just read a little bit, 140, and then we'll recite 143 together. Maryada hoite koti shukha sneha acharane Paramananda hoyor yoro namo sarvane. That's 140 in the translation. In conclusion, dealings in affection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead bring happiness many millions of times greater than the dealings with Him in awe and veneration. Simply by hearing the holy name of the Lord, the devotee is merged in transcendental bliss. 141. Eito boli Govindore koilo alingana Gobindo korilo prabhuro charana vandana. And the translation. After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Govinda. Wow. And Govinda in turn offered his respectful obeisances onto Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. My God. 142. Prabhu kohe bhattacharya karo vicharo Gururo kinkaro hoyo manaye se amaro. Translation. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then continued speaking to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Consider this point. The servant of the spiritual master is always respectable for me. And so now Prabhu's 143, if you could repeat after me. Tan hore apana seva korite na yuyaya. Guru agya dicha hina ki kori upaya. Ki kori. Tan hore apana seva korite na yuyaya. Guru agya vichakena ki kori upaya. Tan hore apana seva korite na yuyaya. Guru agya di yachaino ki kori upaya. Mataji's. Tan Hare, him, Apana Seva, personal service, Korite, to engage, to do, Nayuya, is not befitting. Guru, the spiritual master, Agya, order. Dichanena, has given. Ki, what? Kori, can I do? Upaya, remedy. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. As such, it is not befitting that the Guru's servant should engage in my personal service. Yet my spiritual master has given this order. What shall I do? The purport. A Guru's servants or disciples are all God brothers to one another, and as such they should all respect one another as Prabhu or master. No one should disrespect his god brother. For this reason, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, what to do about Govinda? Govinda was the personal servant of Ishwarapuri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spiritual master, and now Ishwarapuri had ordered Govinda to become Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's personal servant. So what was to be done? This was the inquiry Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu placed before Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, an experienced friend. Translation once again to kindly repeat. As such, it is not befitting that the Guru's servant should engage in my personal service. Yet my spiritual master has given this order. What shall I do? Om Jnanatimidam Dasya Jnananjana Shlakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurudeva Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastarya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharyane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschasate Satarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Brinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vancha Kalpatrubhasya Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dear Prabhus, I seek the blessings and mercy of all the assembled and the unassembled Vaishnavas. There are hopefully many unassembled online giving me their blessings, so that I can say something relevant. The Madhya Leela is indeed so exceptionally relishing, isn't it? It's so beautifully compiled and so wonderful. I prefer the Madhya as opposed to more so than the, not the Antya, but the Adi. Adi is kind of, all about the Lord's childhood. and all of that. But Prabhu's this chapter, the 10th chapter, is entitled The Lord's Return to Jagannath Puri. Wow. And in summary, while Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling in South India, who has been to South India? Jai, many hands going up. You managed. That took you. So whilst the Lord is traveling in South India, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had many talks with King Pratarudra. And if we go through that pastime, it is incredible. But anyway, we won't go there. When Maharaj Pratarudra requested the Bhattacharya to arrange an interview with the Lord, because the Lord is just so adamant, the Bhattacharya assured him that he would try to do so as soon as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned from South India. When the Lord returned to Jagannath Puri from his South Indian tour, he lived at the home of Kashi Mishra. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya introduced many Vaishnavas to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after his return. The father of Ramananda Rai, Bhavananda Rai, who's Maharaj Pandu, offered another son named Vaninath Patanakya for the Lord's service. Yet another son. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu informed his associates about the pollution of Krishnadas brought about by his association with the Bhattaharis. That was a nice one, pastime. And thus the Lord proposed to give him leave. Nityananda Prabhu attempts to save him, naturally. Nityananda Prabhu sent Krishnadas to Bengal to inform the Navadvip devotees that the Lord had returned to Puri. All the devotees of Navadvip thus began arranging to come to Jagannath Puri. At this time, Paramananda Puri was at Navadvip. And immediately upon hearing news of the Lord's return, he started for Jagannath Puri, accompanied by a Brahmana named Kamalakanta. Purushottam Bhattacharya, a resident of Navadvip, was educated at Varanasi. He accepted the renounced order from Chaitanya Ananda. But he took the name of Swarupa. Thus, he arrived at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after the demise of Sri Ishwar Puri. His disciple Govinda, following his instructions, went to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu due to his relationship with Keshava Bharati. Bharamananda Bharati was also respectfully received by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he arrived at Jagannath Puri, he was advised to give up the deerskin clothing he wore. When Brahmananda understood Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu correctly, he accepted him as Krishna himself. However, when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya addressed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Krishna, the Lord immediately protested, which he likes doing. In the meantime, Kashishwar Goswami also came to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this chapter, devotees from many different areas come to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they are exactly like many rivers that come from many places to finally flow into the sea. So that's the summary of the chapter given to us, none other than the great Thakur Bhaktivinoda. In these verses, dear Prabhus, from 140 to 143, and tomorrow we're very blessed because Sri Radharaman Prabhu is going to give class, and I'm very much looking forward to that. 2 weeks back we had Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu, and of course His Great Holiness Keshav Swami Maharaj. So I was listening to those 2 lectures last night in bed, and it was quite relishing. But I look forward to that. So in these, there's specifically 2 points given, Prabhus, really. Firstly, that the devotional service rendered purely to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna and Srimati Radharani, is higher than the worship of their lordships in awe and reverence, awe and veneration. And secondly, towards the end of the purport of 143, it's mentioned in that purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying, of being careful, we have to be careful in disrespecting the spiritual masters, god brothers and sisters. Wow. But in service, that's a tough thing to do. Sometimes, I'm always shouting about and having fun with the devotees and, oh, this is not right, this is not, not wrong here and all that business. But it's a tough one. Now, throughout the Nectar of Devotion, Prabhus, there are many references depicting dealings with the Lord in affection. And is much more, in the dealings with the Lord in affection is much more superior than dealings with Him in awe and reverence. Hence, 'tis the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, because it's explaining all these rasas. And specifically in the 32nd chapter of the NOD, it's mentioned that as far as friendship is concerned, those high-grade devotees, certainly not me, who are almost like Krishna, are considered to be great authorities in the modes of friendly relations with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Being a friend to the Lord, I can't imagine doing that. Then there's parenthood. Parenthood, my Lord. Being a parent to the Lord, I can't imagine it. Or being the Lord's parent. In the Pushti Marg, tradition, you have to be the parent of, Bal Gopal. And I tell you, being a parent of Bal Gopal ain't easy. I remember visiting on numerous occasions the mother of Krishna Purna Mataji. Her name was Puspa Ben, a devout devotee of Bal Gopal. And of course, I would go there for really the prasadam, the malpuras, and all these sweets she would offer to, Bal Gopal. And the malpuras, oh my God, these are the Gujarati ones, incidentally. Bengali ISKCON ones are also fantastic, because especially if they're strawberry flavor. I can't remember the last time I had that here at our temple. ISKCON Malpura. Anyway, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but she's worshipping, Bal Gopal, and it's really quite amazing, the worship she was doing. Of course, I'd like to tease her now and again, but it was truly incredible. Truly incredible. So that's parenthood. I can't fathom it. And then of course there's Madhurya Ras. Forget that. That's kind of out of the window. So in essence, Prabhus, it's detailed in the Nectar of Devotion. All these things are given, and the Nectar of Devotion is indeed our manual. And even, there's a lot of information on deity worship. And it brings me back when I was, doing my transfer service. Who's done transfer service over there? Wow, yes, all these hands going up. Mataji, that one, it's an incredible feeling. Touching the paraphernalia of the Lord, these massive silver plates and all the beautiful things, and the feeling which you get, it's truly amazing, isn't it? Especially the first week. And then you kind of get familiar, and then over familiar, and then it's like, okay, I'm late, you got to rush the service. But it's quite relishing. When I first went on the altar, I do vividly recollect, and His Holiness Gadadhar Prabhu, I call him Holiness, His Holiness Gadadhar Prabhu took me on personally, and he was showing me and training me, the Rajbhog Arti, and then he says to me, when you come on, there's no need to pay obeisances on the altar. You've kind of done that in the temple room. Don't keep doing that. And I'm thinking to myself, but we do that, in front of the spiritual master when you're in and out of the rooms. This is where the awe and reverence kicks in. They're not particularly Lakshmi Narayan. That's this Krishna there. So anyway, these little instructions were given, and of course, going on the altar, you just kind of want to bow down, but it's not needed. There's no need to touch the feet of the deities. You want to touch their feet? There's no need. You just get on with your service. And talking. Is there a need to talk? If you have to talk to the other devotees who are on the altar, whisper. I said, well, maybe we should all learn sign language. That's a good thing, isn't it? So the deed, you're not in any way, you're not kind of, getting too familiar. But then we are personal entities. We want to, develop that relationship with the Lord. Certain Matajis here in the assembly, definitely are mothers to the Lord. So, but, certain etiquette has to be followed, and you have to follow what the head pujari tells you to do. Of course, there was one particular incident where I did not follow anything at all. It was a midweek, I remember very well, and a school group was about to come through those doors. Fortunately, there weren't that many people in the room, in the temple room, and Rajbhog Arti was going on. The pujari offered the ghee wig, and then he turned around, put it on the table over there, that cabinet thing over there. And of course, he didn't notice that the chamra is right on top of it. And it caught fire. And Muggins here was in the corner there. Kripamoya Prabhu was there present. He immediately leaped onto the altar. And I'm thinking, boy, but what's going on? He rushed and, he was trying to get the fire out. I remember Mother Krishna Vaishya was here. And she's looking at me, what are you doing? Do something. So, of course, I immediately took my socks off. Jai Shri Shri Radha Goklananda ki Jai, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai, Gonitai Bhagwan ki Jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. I took my socks off immediately, rushed straight onto the altar. I didn't have the guts to go straight onto the front here. I went over there and then onto it. And then I kind of helped Kripamoya Prabhu, and the fire was out. So, of course, no etiquette followed. I was probably in some horrible clothing as well. My dhoti was probably full of mud, no doubt. But that went all out of the window because there was an emergency. So, of course, you have to. I could have just, ran out of the temple room, gone upstairs in the ashram, taken a shower, then come back down, and then gone on the altar, done all the rigmarole of the protocols. I could have done all of that, but by that time, God knows what Agni Dev would have done. So anyway, it was all these etiquettes are there. But then Prabhu's, the worship of Sri Sri Radha Goklananda, Sri Sri Krishna, and Radharani. It's not, you can't just directly worship them, isn't it? You have to go through Lord Chaitanya. And do you really think you can go directly through Lord Chaitanya? No. You have to approach Lord Nityananda. And then there's the parampara. So this is the etiquette which has been given.
And I remember at one point, one of my rather senior godbrothers is Bengali. That says it all. He says to me, direct worship of Radha Krishna is a must. But I said, what the heck are you on about? You've got to worship Lord Chaitanya. We're in Kali Yuga, and he's appeared in this particular Kali Yuga. Anyway, we had a real good old barmy. It was a massive argument. At the end of it, I said to myself, I can't reason with him. Because he was so fixed. And his name was Nilammadhava. Initiated in, Mayapur Dham. And he was staying with me. And I thought to myself, I've got to get rid of this tenant. So, that was an experience. And I just couldn't understand how, he couldn't quite accept the worship of Gauranga Mahaprabhu comes first. The worship of Lord Nityananda is first for us. We can't approach the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just like that, And that kind of also reminds me of when, this is now in the 18th chapter of the Madhya Leela. Some of you may have come across the beautiful, beautiful pastime of Balabhadra Bhattacharya. Now, Balabhadra Bhattacharya, after the incident with Krishnadas, who was then sent to Navadvip, the Lord was quite adamant, I don't want any servants. It's a bit like our sannyasis in ISKCON, some of them, there's no need for a servant. We were teasing Keshav Maharaj the other week. So how many servants have you got now? I'm a young brahmachari. I'm a young sannyasi. I don't need any servants. There's no need. So Mahaprabhu was in that mood. Look, it's more of a burden, isn't it? We were trying to convince, Prayojan Swami over there. He needs a servant. It's more of a burden. I have to tell them what to do, and half the time they can't get it right. So get rid of them. There's no need. But eventually Mahaprabhu was given, Balabhadra Bhattacharya. And what a wonderful servant he was. And he went through the jungle and he did beautiful service to the Lord. When they got to Vrindavan, who's not been to Vrindavan? Wow! Okay, a few hands going up. Okay, all right, you got to go to Vrindavan. Tell Dad. Where is he? Yes, at the back. When the Supreme Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Balabhadra Bhattacharya got to Vrindavan, and they stayed there. At one point, the Brajbasis were seeing that Krishna is appearing, especially at night, where Kaliya was, and he's jumping on Kaliya's hoods, and everyone's seeing this. So obviously the word gets to Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya, he's saying, what's going on here? And Balabhadra Bhattacharya, he says to the Lord, can you give me permission? I want to see Krishna. I want to see him. Can I go and see him? And some of you may recollect, in the 18th chapter of the Madhya Leela, truly amazing, Mahaprabhu does something quite unique. He's upset. And you don't want to be there when Mahaprabhu's upset, my Lord. He just slaps the servant, boom, right on the cheek. And Balabhadra Bhattacharya realized that, hang on, he shouldn't have said, he doesn't want to go and see Krishna. Why do you want to see Krishna? And this is one of the very, very rare occasions where Mahaprabhu says, are you not aware I am Krishna? You're with me 24/7? What is the need for you to go to the Kaliya lake? And of course it turned out that Krishna wasn't particularly there, but there was a fisherman there at night in the boat, and he's doing all this business of whatever he does in catching the fish. And as he catches the fish from a distance, people think that the fisherman is Krishna, and he's dancing on the hoods of Kaliya, and it's the fish which are the hoods of Kaliya. Krishna wasn't really there. Well, he must have been there because he's always in Vrindavan, but he's not visible. Not visible. So that was quite interesting incident and pastime. Now, in terms of this most important statement of the purport, that simply by hearing, this is the translation of 140, I believe, simply by hearing the holy name of the Lord, the devotee is merged in transcendental bliss, simply by hearing the transcendental holy name of the Lord. Now, hence, simply by chanting a specific mantra, we see what happens to Gop Kumar in the Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Anyone come across it? No? No? Yes, must have. Thank you. That particular scripture, in essence, it's the conclusion of the Bhagavatam in 2,516 verses by Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami was sent together with Vallabha Bhatta to Gadadhar Pandit at Tota Gopinath, and they were instructed upon and taught by Gadadhar Pandit, the authority when it comes to the Bhagavatam. When they came back, of course, Mahaprabhu wasn't particularly happy with Vallabha Bhattacharya. He wasn't happy with his commentary, as it were, but he was very, very happy with what Sanat Goswami had learnt, and the Lord instructs him that you must now compile the Siddhanta. Conclusion. Of course, this particular scripture, just a quick history on it. After the Bhagavatam was sung by Shukadev, Shukadev Goswami didn't want to hang around when Takshaka appears, naturally, who would want to, so he left. And just prior to Takshaka appearing, the serpent personality and did what he did. Back in Hastinapur, Mother Uttara was told that the Bhagavatam has been recited. And she's thinking, oh my Lord, let me leave immediately. And goes to where the son is, the Emperor Pariksit. And of course, she's kind of devastated. Now, generally, a mother, when realizing that her son's life is about to end, would naturally, inquire, Beta, have you eaten? How are you feeling? I know that soon you may be leaving. This is what a mother would do. But what she said, why the heck didn't you tell me that the Bhagavatam is being recited? I would have been here. I come to know of it too late, and now Shukdev Goswami has scarpered. He's left. So can you please give me the Siddhanta, the conclusion? And of course, Maharaj Pariksit concludes. Now, can you imagine concluding 18,000 verses? But memory was sharp, not like jelly like mine. But he concluded. And then thereafter, after the Mahabharata and after all of that shebang and all the commotion, Jaimini Rishi visits Maharaj Jamnijaya, who's the son of Pariksit Maharaj. And the Rishi concludes and gives, Maharaj Jamnijaya. Maharaj Jamnijaya is, in one sense, the last emperor. Before, the Kali Yuga emperors kind of come in. He's like the last of the Mohicans. The final emperor. And Jaimini Rishi, he narrates the entire Mahabharata. He starts with the Mahabharata. And then, of course, he concludes and he mentions about the Caitanya-Caritāmṛta. So this is like the history of it. And we're fortunate that, we have it in 3 volumes. Do go through it. It's absolutely relishing. And that journey, it begins, the scripture begins with Narad Muni as always. He's always there, isn't he? In anything and everything. And of course, the journey of Gopkumar. And why I'm kind of dwelling upon this is the fact that Gopkumar is an amazing Shaka of the Lord. He's a friend, isn't he? He's such an amazing friend of the Lord. And what he experiences is incredible. Because I know that now and again we're all desirous, isn't it? I wonder how things are like in Kailash. I wonder how the demigods live. I came across one particular description many moons ago, and it mentioned that the most beautiful person on this planet, in comparison to the beauty of the heavens, the celestial realms, that beautiful person on this planet is that of a frog in comparison. So I'm thinking, what kind of celestial entities, what kind of bodies exist in the heavens? And of course, there's no particular, if you appear in Brahmaloka, there's no old age. There's no birth as well. You just get a garland. You get one of these garlands, and as the petals come off, that's how much time you have. That's how much time. I mean, you could live, it's mentioned, the figure is given, you could live up to 15 trillion years. Because in Brahmaloka, Lord Brahma in our puny little universe, it's a tiny place. It's only 4 billion miles in diameter. But Lord Brahma lives for 311 trillion 40 billion years. And you could live for a heck of a long time. Well, it's all relative, isn't it? But you're given a garland, and of course, can you imagine what kind of bodies exist? Right now, I'm in my mid-50s. I do look younger, don't I? If I had shaved, I'd look younger. But, I'm thinking, I'm in a young body. My lower back is aching. I've got this kind of cushion, but can you imagine what the bodies are like in the celestial realms? Incredible. So of course, Gopkumar experiences all these things. He goes to Kailash. I mean, what kind of an existence would be in Kailash? Sri Radharaman Prabhu, can you imagine it? There are 10 billion maidservants serving Lord Shiva. That's more than the blinking population of this planet. 10 billion, it's mentioned. And can you imagine going there and taking darshan of the great Param Vaishnav and Ma Parvati? Ew, I would love it. Wouldn't you love it? Of course, how to do that? Gopkumar did go there, and he came out and he went to Vaikuntha, and if I go through his entire journey, we'll be here forever. But he goes into Ayodhya. When he enters Ayodhya, the first personalities who kind of come to him are the Varanas. And immediately what the Varanas do, because the monkey's there, isn't it? Can you imagine? This is Vaikuntha, Ayodhya in Vaikuntha. There are monkeys there. And they immediately take his flute. Because he's a Gopa. He has this nice little flute. And he's traveling with his flute. Maybe it's one of these, wands, the wishing wands, which children like. But anyway, they take his flute, so he's kind of running after the monkeys to get this flute back. And then he comes across Maharaj Bharat. When he takes darshan of Maharaj Bharat, he immediately pays obeisances, full dandavat pranams, manages to get the flute back, and he's beginning his prayers, thinking that this is Lord Ramchandra. And Bharat Maharaj, he just covers his ears. He says, I'm not the Lord. I'm not Lord Ramchandra. I can take it to him. I'll take it to him. And of course, when Lord Ramchandra is encountered, the Lord says to Gopkumar, look, mate, I know you've been traveling. Go and take some rest. You've had a long journey. So the Lord is really very much attempting to look after his visitor. Of course, he stays there eventually, cutting a long story short, eventually he has to leave because, it's not him. It's not where he really belongs. Because he's a Shaka, he's a Lord, he's the friend of the Lord. Very rare, unique. So eventually he does go back home, back to Godhead, as it were, the term. He does, go back to Vrindavan, Vraj. He does come back to earthly Vrindavan as well. And there's a whole journey, the Bhuma Vrindavan. But when he enters, because this is the last stage of his journey. Now, if any of you are fascinated in traveling, then do read this, because there's so much detail and it's unique. Anyway, he enters the last stage of his journey, and it's midday. And by midday, the Lord is coming back with his cows, with Balaram. So he notices Mother Yashoda coming out and onto the pathway, as it were. It could have been Dharamarg up the Dharma. She's coming out, and he notices some young damsels, they're gopis, and they're